بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. So as we mentioned earlier that what we would do is, one thing that we would do as a team is, have this conversation going where we can share ideas, discuss issues that we are facing with reverts and converts, and then see what solutions that we can come up with. As we come up with different solutions, we try to record it in a document so that the future coaches can also benefit from those. All right, so we are in the playlist for coach training. This is the main document, available via first engagement, bit.ly/first engagement. And if you scroll down below, you would see under coach training. Again, please note this outline. So even if the document gets updated, the outline would also get up to date, right? So we have seen gradual development program video, right? Where we talk about how to teach them Salah and different resources and Wudu and different resources and what have you, okay? Now we'll take a quick look at some supporting programs and other organizations that we have, as well as empowerment document. So if you click on this document, so I hope that what you would do as a coach is you would keep important links bookmarked with you, right? So that you can use that to traverse to wherever you need to traverse, right? So if you go into supporting program, what you would see is that, look, if there's sometimes questions and concerns and fatwa and what have you, again, we typically need to deal with it in a very subtle manner, right? So as we talked about gradual development, you might have separate standard for yourself, but looking at the reword and convert, they may not be able to adopt everything right away, right? So they may have to start focusing on the major things and then slowly come on to the minor things, right? It's obviously best thing is for you to take them out to the imam, local imam, person of knowledge, who can look at their situation and help them answer, right? Help them find, this is the best option you can take. This is disliked, this is preferred, and what have you, right? And so that, and then sometimes you also have to weigh the consequences, right? Some things may be haram, but if the converts start doing it and then you see that, hey, you know what, the person is not ready for it yet, they may not have to be forced or encouraged to do that. Let them do what they are able to, and then let them move gradually, right? Sometimes you have to, say, brother, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from you, and you should try to do it. But if you can't do it, keep trying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. So here are some resources, right? So Islam QA and Al-Ifta is what you would find in standard fatwa, right? Mufti Q&A is quite interesting. Like, the brother is American. He would definitely point out things from experience as well, right? So things like, let me quickly take you to the channel, right? So here's a Facebook page, Mufti QA. There's a video that describes how you can send them questions. I've sent him a lot of reword questions, and he has been able to explain very well. Looking at what's the best option, what's the next best, what's the next best, and so on and so forth. So for example, if you go into the YouTube channel, right, you click on videos, right, you can see lots of different questions, right? This is specifically where we usually have this issue, right? Someone with a girlfriend from Christian background and what have you, right? I think he did a pretty good job at explaining it. Is this advisable? Is this not advisable? If you have to do it, how would you do it? Even things like working in a bank, right? Lowering the gaze. So different things that you would see that he would explain, what's permissible, what's impermissible, what is something that has a difference of opinion, what's the best option, so on and so forth, right? And you can send him questions from at his email, and then over time you would get the answer, right? What have you. So it's a pretty decent and good resource. He also has this other channel. Click on Habib Disciple, and what you can do there, you can actually ask live question, right? So if you go on Habib Disciple, what happens is when they go live, right, they have certain days that they have live question and answers. As you can see, all these question answers videos. So you can actually ask a question live. I think he explains that on his website, hadithbisapple.com. Right? So there's a link for Mufti Q&A, and there's articles about contact live stream YouTube channel. So they have their schedule of when they go live, right? And when they have question answers and things like that. So it's a great resource. May Allah reward the brother. I think it's an awesome resource to use and to be aware of as a coach. Okay, so this is now if they need financial help, you can connect them to the local Masjid Zakat department. NZFCA for Canada also has a zakat that they disperse, so that could be a good resource to use for shelter and things like that, especially for women. You can search for Nisa Homes Canada. They also have Nisa Helpline that somebody can call and just talk and get some feedback, like an anonymous call. For counseling type of resources, emotional issues, there are some resources that we have listed here already. And as we've come across other things, we would keep updating it as well. Marriage is also a big problem. We should not push them to do that right away. Again, there's no one size fits all, right? A lot of people do make mistakes, and Muslim Matters and Al Juma magazine has some articles that you should be aware of. The converts should be aware of as well when they're thinking about it, so that they can think about the important questions, important things to consider before getting married. And now you have to be like, okay, so for example, here are some educational resources that they can use, or you can use that too, right? So if you don't have a course, or you don't have option to take them to a teaching class because they're only available at a time where there is no community class that's happening. So you can use these online resources, sitting with them or encouraging them and working with them to go through some of the basic courses here. Like just a lot of time they would need some sort of a guidance in their in taking care of their lives as well. So productivemuslim.com is an awesome resource for that. New Muslim Academy is a very good resource that you definitely want them to subscribe to. They will get timely reminders. They would get different webinars. Islamic Online University also has some diploma courses. Now this is getting into intermediate level, right? Somebody who has this interest of seeking more knowledge can benefit from these resources. Some of the YouTube channels that they can subscribe to. Again, we have talked about this in the main coaching program, so we don't want to be talking about it here. Here's something to be keep in mind, right? So not every new Muslim would love to get extra knowledge, to get above average knowledge, but some of them would be, right? Some of them may have more desire to get knowledge than you. So we don't want to discourage anybody. If you see that zeal, you should connect them with people who are student of knowledge in your community, right? And let them, guide. Some of them even want to go overseas and apply and study. That's good, alhamdulillah, right? Very few, very, very few, but there are people like that. So connect them at this stage to their local imam, to student of knowledge around you, so that they can, achieve their aspiration. You don't have to, again, some of them would be practicing Islam at a level lower than you. Some of them would be at a level equal to you. Some of them would try to go above your level. So make sure you're aware of these things and you make the right connections for them. If you don't know, ask within your team, ask the local imam, so on and so forth. For online stuff, here are some resources that people can try out. Okay, and as we go along, we might be updating that document, so keep it handy, and the outline would tell you what information we have and so on and so forth. And another document that I wanted to mention is if you go back into the main document, you have a link to empowerment document. If you go on the empowerment document link, what I do here, and right now it's not very organized. So if somebody wants to help me to organize it in a better way, please reach out to me and we can organize it. I would also spend some time in organizing the document as well. So what you would see here is typical issues like emotional issues, spiritual issues, dealing with difficulties, hardships, sickness, not a very organized life, not a very inspired life, lazy life. A lot of these things we do document it here. And if you do a Control F, right, or Command F on Mac, and then you search for prayer, you would find different things, right? You would see, let's say, 8 matches. So this might be helpful for you when you're dealing with that. You search for depression, you find a lot of things, right? You search for sadness. You search for hardship, right? You can search for difficulty, right? You can search for sickness, right? So you'd get different results based on what we have. And you can also look at the outline here, right? So this would also be up to date. So again, these are some of the resources that you can use, and we would keep updating it as we get more options, and hopefully it will get organized by the time you get to look at it. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it beneficial. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله تعالى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم.